Hello all, so this is the video lecture series of basic VHDL coding for beginners, and today in this video we will be discussing how to write the behavioral code for a AND gate. That is how to write the behavioral code of a Boolean AND gate. So we know that for a Boolean AND gate, whenever the inputs are all of them are 1, only then the output will be 1. For all the other cases, output will be 0. So that is the general functionality of a Boolean AND gate. So we are going to write the behavioral code of a 2-input AND gate. Okay. So whenever we are starting the VHDL coding, the first thing you have to write is the library files. So library IEEE, use IEEE.std underscore logic underscore 1164.all. So these are the two library files I have used here because this is a basic VHDL coding, and whatever built-in functions or functionalities or keywords which are being used in this code will be imported uh, through this library files. Next comes the entity. Since we are only writing the functionality of one module, one functional module here, there is only one entity. So how to write an entity all we have discussed earlier in another video. If you have watched that video, then it will be easy for you to continue understanding this behavioral code of AND gate. So this is a very basic form of writing an entity. First is use the keyword entity followed by an entity name. One thing to make sure is whenever you are using an entity name, make sure you end that entity with the same name. Okay, so and end is the name which I have used here as entity name. Then is, after that port. The port is that place where we list out all the signals used. There are different kind of signals: input signal, output signal, in out, buffer. So for this code, or those for this function, or for this video, in this there is only input and output signals. So there are two input signals which are x and y. F is the output signal. So we describe the input signal as in std underscore logic and output as out std underscore logic. Now end entity name. Followed by the entity, we have to write the architecture. So architecture is written like this. First use the keyword architecture followed by an architecture name of whatever entity you are going to define, or whatever entity's functionality you are going to define here. Use that entity name, which is and int, that is same as this entity. Is begin. I have written a process. Inside the process I have written the functionality, and here I'm using two signals in the sensitivity list of the process, which are x and y. So this x and y is actually controlling the output, so it is being listed in the sensitivity list. Begin, compare to truth table. So as per the truth table, whenever only x and y is 1, then output is 1. For all the other conditions, output f will be equal to 0. So this is a very basic thing. If you are an electronics student, you should be knowing this by heart, that AND gate will only give output 1 when all the input signals are 1. For whatever condition else, it will be 0. Then since I'm using an if, end if, then process, end process. So if you are using a process, make sure you have to end that process. And if you are using some conditional statements like if or for, make sure you have to end that also. So this is how you have to end. Then followed by behavior, which comes in the most outer layer. So architecture name is behave1. You can see here behave1 is the architecture name. So end behave1. So on the outer layer comes the architecture. After that process, then the most inner one is if statement. So the ending will be like from inner to outer. End if, end process, and end behavior. That is behave1 is that nothing but the architecture name. Okay. Now, so this is one way of writing the architecture. Another way is simply by using the Boolean function and. That way it is very easy, because Boolean functionalities like AND or XOR, XNOR, is already been defined inside the VHDL coding. So directly by using the keyword and, you can get the and functionality. So this is how we write architecture using that method. So architecture behave to, because this is a second architecture, so another architecture name of and end, which is the same entity. Please remember that for this code we only have one entity, so we use the same entity name is begin. F is assigned the value of and functionality or and operation between x and y. So if you know that there are keywords like and or x not, and if you put that in between two input signals, it gives the output of that functionality between the signals. So here nothing but we are taking the boolean and of x and y, and the result is being assigned to f signal. Then end behave to, it is nothing but the second architecture name. Yeah. So this is how we write the behavior coding of AND gate in VHDL coding. Please keep on watching this series in order to get better understanding of basics of VHDL coding.